कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे So, welcome to the Bhagavatam class. Please accept my humble obeisances to all the devotees and Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudire Nashya Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16, Text 42. King Chitraketu meets the Supreme Lord. कहा शेमो निज परयो कियान वर्ता स्व परा दुराह धर्मेण स्वद्रोहात् तव कोप परा संपीडया च तथा धर्म. Word meaning. Kaha, what? Shama, benefit. Nija, to oneself. Parayo, and to others. Kiyan, how much? Va, or artha, purpose. Swapara duraha, which is envious of the performer and of others. Dharmena, with the religious system. Swadrohat, from being envious of one's own self. Tava, of you. Kopa, anger. Parasampidaya, by giving pain to others. Cha also, tatha as well as, adharma, religion. Translation: how can a religious system that produces envy of oneself and of others be beneficial for oneself and for them? What is auspicious about following such a system?
Hare
What is
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Verse number
6:16:42.
okay.
Huh?
41.
Huh?
41 is not covered.
1 second. You sent. I got. Let me see. I got it. I got. Oh, by mistake. I saw 42. What should I do? I prepared for this.
Yes, Prabhuji. Please continue.
Sorry. How can a religious system that produces envy of oneself and of others be beneficial for oneself and for them? What is auspicious about following such a system? What is actually to be gained by causing pain to one's own self due to self-envy and by causing pain to others? One arouses your anger and practices irreligion. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any religious system, but the process of Bhagavad Dharma, service as an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a system of envy of one's own self and of others. For example, there are many systems of religion in which animal sacrifices are recommended. Such animal sacrifices are inauspicious both for the performer and for the animal. Although one is sometimes permitted to sacrifice an animal before the goddess of Kali, and eat it instead of purchasing meat from a slaughterhouse. Permission to eat meat after sacrifices in the presence of Goddess Kali is not the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is simply a concession for the miserable person who will not give up eating meat. It is meant to restrict his desire for unrestricted meat eating. Such a religious system is condemned. Therefore, Krishna says, Sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. This is the last word in religion. One may argue that the sacrifice of animals is recommended in the Vedas. This recommendation, however, is restriction. Without Vedic restrictions on the purchase of meat, people will purchase meat from the market, which will be overflooded with meat shops, and slaughterhouse will increase. To restrict this, sometimes the Vedas say that one may eat meat after sacrificing an insignificant animal like goat before the goddess of Kali. In any case, a system of religion in which animal sacrifices are recommended is inauspicious for those who perform animal sacrifices, and for the animals. Envious persons who perform ostentatious animal sacrifices are condemned in Bhagavad Gita 16.17 as follows. Atma sambhavita stabda dhanamana madanvitaha yajante nama yagnaste dambhena dambhena virid purvakam. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and prestige, they sometimes perform sacrifice in the name only without following any rules and regulations. Sometimes animal sacrifices are performed very gorgeously with grand arrangement for worshipping the goddess Kali. But such festivals, although performed in the name of yagna, and are not actually yagna. For yagna means to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it is recommended that in this age specifically, yagna sankirtana parayo jajanti He Sumedhasha, those who have good intelligence satisfy the Yagna Purush Vishnu by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Envious person, however, are recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as follows. Ahankara balam darpan, kama krodha cha samashrita, mam atma paradheshu, para pradveshanti भयासु भयासु यकाः तान् अहं द्विषतः कुरूरान् समाश्रेषु नराधमान् क्षिपामि अजस्रम् अशुभान् आश्रेषु इव योनिषु. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demon becomes envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is situated in his own body and in the bodies of others, and blasphemes against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, and are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life, described in Bhagavad Gita 16.18 and 19. These persons are condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as indicated by the words Tava Kopaha. A person who commits murder is envious of himself and also the person he has killed, for the result of committing murder is that he will be arrested and hanged. If one transgresses the law of the man-made government, he may escape being killed by the state, but one cannot escape the law of God. A killer of any animal must be killed in his next life by the same animal. This is the law of nature. One must follow the instruction of the Supreme Lord, Sarvam Dharman Paritajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. If one follows any other system instruction, if one follows any other systems of religion, he is subject to punishment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in many different ways. Therefore, if one follows the concocted system of religion, he is envious not only of others but also of himself. Consequently, his system of religion is useless. Srimad Bhagavatam states 1.2.8 Dharmam Swanish Tihita Pumsham Vishwakshena Kathasuya Nopad Dayat Yadi Ratim Shrama Eva Kevalam. Duty dharma executed by men regardless of occupation are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Lord. Following a system of religion that does not awaken one's Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is merely a waste of time and labor. So, please accept my humble obeisances. So in this verse, there are, if we don't take to Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad Dharma, it is stated that we are envious of oneself, Bhagavad Dharma, Krishna consciousness, and also of others. Because in these scriptures, there are many kinds of duties are prescribed. According to Karma Kanda, we have to do different kinds of sacrifices, different kinds of activities for the economic development, religious development. There are so many kinds stated like dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So according to Karma Kanda, there are so many things stated, but in this verse, And in Bhagavad Gita also, at the end, Krishna is telling that to Arjuna and to everyone that we should sacrifice all, we should leave, we should just come to the platform of real religion, spirituality. We should surrender, and that is the actual purpose of human life, and that is the actual goal why this whole creation, all the arrangements is done in this material world. See, our nature is we are eternal servant of Krishna. Jiva Sarupa Hoye Krishna Nitya Das. This is our actual Sarupa, actual nature. So, but since we are not ready to perform our activity, our duty according to that, according to our natural, our own Sarupa. We don't want to serve, we don't want to act for the pleasure of Krishna. So, these arrangements in this material world, whole material world with so many cosmic manifestations, this is made to act and to bring us on the real platform of Jiva Swarupa Hoye Krishna Nitya Das. So, this is described in so many ways. And then when the creation is taking place, so there is a system of different system of religion is prescribed according to different time, place, and circumstances. So in other yuga, in like other than Kali Yuga, so animal sacrifices were allowed on certain prescription. It was not allowed for common man or common people, like it was done by the king for doing like so many yagya for horse sacrifice yagya, so many things are there. But it is not unrestricted. There are so many restrictions are there, and for according to the in those sacrifices, those animals who are being sacrificed were getting the human form of life in the next life, and there are so many arrangements has to be done, and the consciousness has to be pure up up to that which is not there in this human form of life, and especially in Kali Yuga, this is not there. So this so many in the according to Karma Kanda system, or so many things prescribed in this scripture is restricted. But because in this the living entity has this tendency to desire, such desire to eat meat eating and other irreligious activity. So then it is recommended on the condition that the living entity, the human being, has to can sacrifice the other the animals like goat and all, but in front of the goddess Kali. And this goddess Kali, but there are certain. It's not that you can do at any time. There are certain time, and in front of goddess Kali, there are certain uh, way of certain process that has to be performed for sacrificing animal. But then, what is the situation after that? What will happen? This animal will be killing the same person in the next life. So this is there with so many restrictions. So what happens when we do such activity? This is according to the Bhagavad Dharma. So any dharma is such which is not pleasing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the irreligious activity, and which is not going to benefit the person who is doing and the others. So it is better to renounce those activity and come to the real platform of Bhagavad Dharma. So what will happen is when we are sacrificing the animal, so without any restriction, the proper system which is allowed it. So what will happen? We are checking. This is like hinsa. Hinsa means we are checking the uh, progress of any living entity in a evolutionary process. So in the evolutionary process, the animals which are lower than the human form of life, there they progress from one species to other in a upper direction, and ultimately they will come to the human platform of life where their consciousness is developed and they are given facility to understand what is the actual purpose of human life, but in other species it's not allowed it. So when this animal, suppose this animal is particularly, it is given that this in this species like goat or whatever now they are killing, so they have to live for 10 years, 20 years. So now the human being, we are killing such animals for our for satisfying our desire. So his evolutionary process is checked. This is called and then he has to take birth again in that species to complete his cycle for evolution, and then he will be transferred to the other higher body, higher like goat, and then the higher whatever the next species, higher species. So then that's why this we this Bhagavad Dharma is not recommending any kind. There are, this is one example. Plus, at the same time, we can see that there are so many types of religion, artificial religion, which is practiced in this nowadays, and which is not at all. There is no. It's just on the mental platform. It is concocted. It has nothing to do with spirituality. Neither it is giving any proper solution to the people who are following, neither it is directing, giving the complete answer. Except this Bhagavad Dharma, it's not that you cannot get any complete conclusive answer. What is actually the ultimate goal of human life? Even in the Karma Kanda system, in other, it is not clearly described that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. It is not stated even in the Vedic scriptures. Only that's why, Vyasadeva wrote whole scriptures, and at the last he is writing Srimad Bhagavatam, because this this Narad Muni instructed him and he guided, because whatever you are written, it is just it will keep the living entity in the cycle of birth, a human being in the cycle of birth and death. So if we are only on the platform of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, so we are performing according to Karma Kanda, but Karma Kanda is not giving liberation from the cycle of birth and death, which is the actual purpose of this whole creation. And then Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. So there, what happens in this animal sacrifice of animals is recommended in Vedas. But this recommendation is a restriction. So then in this, and this activity, sometimes it is performed with gorgeous ceremony. Many places we see that still it is being practiced, and so this somehow we have to understand that this is not recommended for the present age. And in this age, it is completely banned, the animal sacrifices. And so we should try to understand that from Srimad Bhagavatam, that this is a very, like will be the cause of suffering for all those who are involved, the person who is sacrificing and person who is facilitating. And just like in so many places, you, we can see the goddess Kali temple, still animals are sacrificed. But then this is only the path of suffering. And by doing this, the Krishna, it is like Krishna, it is written, it is arousing the anger of Krishna. But because Krishna does not like that any living entity should be killed or his evolutionary process should be checked, because this Krishna is doing all this arrangement so that the living entity can come back to him as soon as possible. This is his plan. This whole cosmic manifestation is designed in such a way that all the living entity who is there in this given chance, so they can get this, come to this process of Bhagavad Dharma and accept it and come back, instead of continuing their cycle of birth and staying and for here and suffer. So then when then it is arousing, so then what this such living entity who is not ready to leave such irreligious activity, they are condemned in the cycle of birth and death, and they are being given in the lower species, they are being when the lower form of body, and they come to the completely abominable species of life. Here in 16.1819, it is written, the bewildered by false ego, strength, and pride, lust, anger, the demons becomes envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies, in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the religion, real religion. So then they are being pushed to the lower species of life, and then they have to take birth, and then they have to suffer. And but here again the question can come that how Krishna can be angry, because Krishna is Bhaktivatsala, he is merciful, he is supremely merciful. But this is his mercy because unless the living entity realizes because see, when instruction is given, like even we experience when instruction is given by words and we accept it, no, but living entities, some are so much stubborn, so much strong-headed, they don't want to leave, they just want to continue, and this kind of mentality is not good for the person who is doing and for others. So for protecting the other living entity, Krishna sent such living entity to the lower species of life, and then they get this, they come, again they are in the evolutionary process. So, but there are there can be again the question comes, if this goes, we can continue for eternity. So that's why the Mahabhagavats are there in this material world, and they come to show us the path of the real religion, the spiritual path, the Krishna conscious path. Like in the such people are those who have this affinity to sacrifice, to kill, or such mentality. So sometimes by agyat, or sometimes like not agyat, but I mean to say when the pure devotee, like the story of Mrigari, he was a hunter. So this Mrigari, he was half killing the animal in the forest and leaving them for suffering. So Narad Muni saw this person is such a demoniac, and he is going to suffer for very, very long time. And so Narad Muni did this unconditional, without any, he just went to him and he told that your such activity will just give you, you have to suffer. And why you are doing such activity? He was killing, he was not even killing fully, he was killing half the animal and living in the forest. So such activities which is really condemned, and it is such a painful, to if the person, those who are being killed, they are suffering now, and the person who is doing, he has to suffer. All those things will, all those karma will come back on this person who is doing. So Narad Muni, Mrigari told to Narad Muni, this is I'm doing for my maintenance, and I'm maintaining my family by doing such activity. So then Narad Muni blessed him, that he told, don't do this, and I will give you the proper way of your living, proper solution, and stop killing. And then, after, by the mercy of Narad Muni, the Mrigari became a devotee. I stopped, and then he was and he told that, don't worry, Krishna is maintaining whole universe, all the living entity, and he will maintain you also. Stop this. So then, and then one day when he started practicing devotional service, so one day Narad Muni went with his disciple Parvat Muni to his ashram, to Mrigari ashram. And then he saw, Mrigari and his wife saw that Narad Muni is approaching his ashram, so he wanted to offer obeisances. But on the ground, he saw there are so many ants. So he was just trying to remove the ants to offer obeisances, so that the ants should not be killed while he is offering obeisances. So this is the nature of Krishna consciousness. Such transformation can be taken place in the heart of such a hard-hearted person who was just killing for maintaining his family. So this is so definitely any kind of religion which is not taking the living entity to the path of Sarvdharman Parityajya, which is not giving the clear conception of the purpose of human life. Because there are so many means, in so many places they practice, and even in India, people practice so many things on the name of Karma Kanda, and it is so much diversion, and it is just a wastage of time. Those who are doing and those who are following, for everyone. So it's so for that, to know the actual, see, this is simple. We have to, especially when we are following the Krishna consciousness. So because for us, we have got the unlimited mercy from Guru Maharaj and our Acharya in this Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So we have got this information very simply, that we are the servant of Krishna. Our real nature is to serve him. So, but actually this information is very, very hidden. It's not easy to know in one statement. Though, but anyway, but we have been knowing, but we have known only theoretically. Practically, we have to still realize it. Theoretically, we know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sripad Maharaj is pure devotee, Prabhupada is pure devotee, and whatever he is doing. So, and like we are all eternally in the group, and different groups are there. We are serving Krishna like this, we are reading every day. But that has to be practically, we have to realize this. That practical realization is still remaining on our part. So this practical realization can be known only when we take to this information stated in Bhagavad Dharma, and also the instruction of our spiritual master, and implement it and dedicate our life fully for that purpose. Then Krishna will reveal, and spiritual master will reveal all those hidden information. So in spirituality, just to know theoretically is not enough. We have to also do it, we have to also perform it practically. Then only, theoretically, see, this is a part of Krishna and Acharya. Theoretically, they are giving the information. They are giving that you do this, you do instruction. But our part, our endeavor is that we have to dedicate our life for those instructions and do it and fulfill their desire to please them. Then that is then this whole then our life will be perfect. And this Bhagavad Dharma is this kind of religion, and which is benefiting to the person who is performing it and whoever is involved. Like when we do the Sankirtan, when we do preaching, when we do conferences, when we do different kinds of activities, and either in temple, either in BI or different this academic activity which are directed by our acharyas in Bhaktivedanta Institute. So whoever is coming in contact, whoever is knowing, they are all benefited. So this kind of religion in this Kali Yuga, the Sankirtan Yag, this is all Harinam Sankirtan. Because the ultimate goal is to satisfy. Ultimately, we are telling direct whatever we, by doing such conferences, we are trying to uh, spread this information to the people who are coming in our contact, that Krishna consciousness, this path, directly or indirectly, this is the ultimate goal of human life. So whatever we do, we are there. We have to understand that this. We have to understand there's any kind of, and other than this, if we take to, like, we cannot be complacent in doing this. I mean to say that, because we have to be very, very serious to to perform such activity. And so this then this is the actual meaning of Sarv Dharman Parityajya. Sarv Dharman Parityajya, definitely we have to renounce any kind of karma kanda system or any kind of artificially concocted religion. We have to sacrifice, we have to relieve that, and we have to surrender. We have to. So this is in Krishna. He stated everything in this Bhagavad Gita, but ultimately, because he wants that such things should be pointed out, that there are so many different kinds of living entity, they are doing this, they are this is or different kinds of religion. But at the end, what is the ultimate goal then? Because so many things are there, but what is the ultimate goal of my life? So to know that, first we have to know who am I. So this who am I question is very important, because there are so many answers to this speculative answers nowadays, and only like when we get the mercy of Krishna, we can at least we can know theoretically who am I. Otherwise we are in this ocean of material world, we are being bewildered, and there are so many people there to misguide us. So that's why in this verse, such people are envious of themselves and also of others, because such who are doing the misguiding on the name of artificial religion or concocted religion, or this in Kali Yuga, there are so many gods manufactured, self-manufactured gods. So they are, because they are going to hell, and those who are following them, they are also going to hell. So it is neither good for them and not for others. So this, in this we have to we have to spread this Hare Krishna movement, Krishna conscious movement. And there are so many ways which has been described, which has been given by our bona fide acharyas, that we can do in so many ways to attract more and more people to the real platform of religion of the soul, not of the body. Because karma kanda is the religion for the body, not for the soul. The consciousness has to be, because you do perform, but ultimately even you can tell that, okay, this according to karma kanda system, the living entity, the human being, can be promoted to the platform of heavenly planets or whatever planet. But ultimately, if the person is taking to Krishna consciousness, if he is coming to the platform to understand and realize that I am the eternal servant of Krishna, and my job is to just to serve him and please him, unless he comes to that platform and act in that way to practically realize it. Realize it means it becomes a fact, and that person is doing only for when the person is self-realized and God realized, He's realizing his relationship with Krishna, and then his life will be completely molded to serve Krishna. That is the that's why we can understand there is a difference between religion and spirituality. With religion, we can tell now what we are doing in the society, where there is no, there is, which is not taking the person to the platform of Krishna consciousness. But spirituality is like going beyond religion. Spirituality is like stating about the soul, about the real purpose of the soul, real purpose that describe our real, the why this human form of life is given to us. So we with this we have, this is very very important, and it is not only that this is for the religious activity what we do, but it is also describing all other activity what we are doing on the name of academic qualification or any kind of activity which is we are being involved. Our goal is not directed towards Krishna, then it is just we are being envious of us, because it will lead us to hell. It will lead us, this will only ultimate the cause of suffering for us if we are not any activity, not just karma kanda system, any activity we are doing. Either we are maintaining our family or just we are living for our sense gratification, then this is the path of suffering. The real path of happiness is Krishna consciousness. That is the real religion, and we should take it. And we should also inform others through this preaching movement to others that what is the real cause of happiness and real purpose of human form of life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sanatan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for this wonderful class. Yeah, if anyone is having any question regarding today's class, yes, Balramji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. So this I forgot actually. So there was in Chaitanya Charitamrita, so there is something Sadhura Ekachitra Sarvaloka Gaya, something like that. Have you remembered that? So in this sense, so this killing the animals. So let's say if somebody kills, you discussed if somebody kills a single animal, then maybe that animal kills in the next life to him. But let's say when you consider the butchers, so they kill every day hundreds of animals, and also 100 different types of animals or 10 different types of animals. So what will be their situation?
See, I'll tell you, Balramji, first to understand one thing. In spirituality, you will not get answer according to the mathematical calculation. Okay. What definitely those butchers, and they will be definitely condemned. Is there stated in this verse? Okay. So their situation, what will be their situation that Krishna is describing, that they will be pushed in the lower species of life. Okay. Lower species in the on this when you read Bhagavad Gita 16.6, 17 to 19, they are being given the body of the dogs, cat or hogs or abominable species where they have to suffer. So this is given. So how many times? Definitely this is also there, that if it is stated in Bhagavad, definitely in the 4th canto also there is one this king who is the descendant of Dhruv Maharaj, is in something name with P or N. So he was doing this Karm Kanda, he was sacrificing animal, and when he saw, Narad Muni saw, he came and he told this king that please stop it, otherwise these all animals are going to take revenge from you in the next life. And then he stopped and he started performing Bhagavad Dharma. So definitely these people, this butcher, that's why it is stated in this, where you will see, read 16.70 to 19, those are hunters and butchers, Prabhupada is writing, with this kind of mentality, who is giving pain to others. So they are, see, who will be killed by whom, that calculation only Krishna can tell, that I don't know, but such people will be condemned, and such people are being condemned in the present life also. You see the life of such people who are maintaining the slaughterhouse, they suffer. And what you means, you see the slaughterhouse, it's a hell practically. It is, first of all, with the blood and stool and dirt and so many things, and people are, those people who are doing, they're sitting there whole day. So basically, practical, they are in hell now, and they will be going to hell in next life. Okay, so they have to suffer. That is what Bhagavatam is stating. And according, if Krishna wants that this butcher should be killed by all those animals who has killed him, who killed by him, so that will happen. Okay, so when and how, though time and space, that only Krishna can tell. Okay, Balramji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Nilmadhav Prabhuji, please.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद, प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा, धन्यवाद।
आप ये कॉन्सेप्ट किया, envious of oneself, ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है। I couldn't understand how you envious with Krishna, envious with other people that we experience, but envious with oneself, I don't know. I am unable to understand. Hare Krishna.
Envious of oneself means that that such activity which is not giving pleasure to others and pleasure to yourself, is your, like killing, for example, killing. But what kind of pleasure you will get if you kill someone, either human or animal? It is just a suffering. So it is suffering for, and it is such a heinous act. So this is such activity which is not giving pleasure, which is not for pleasure of anyone, which does not give happiness to anyone. Then the person who is doing and person who is undergoing such act, both are suffering. So then you are envious. Suppose now you take the example of a devotee. Devotee, we know what is the actual goal of human life, and if we are not taking seriously to that path, then I am envious. I am not. I am berefting myself to get the ultimate happiness. So I am envious of myself. No? So similarly, the person who knows, see, definitely, if so for take example of a criminal. Criminal knows that by doing such criminal activity, by killing, he will be caught and he will be punished. He will be hanged. So even by knowing that the person is acting in that way, he is doing the murder of anyone, that means he is envious of oneself. है ना, आपको पता है ना कि इसके बाद हमें I have to suffer, but still I am doing. So this is the envious of this means that even after knowing I am performing such irreligious activities, so I'm envious of myself. I'm not even thinking my well-being. What to speak of other? Is it okay? Nilmada Prabhuji? What happened?
Yeah,
Nilmada?
thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, go on, Maharaji, please.
Hare Krishna, Chit Prabhu and
Hare
everyone.
Krishna. Dandavat Maharaj.
So the recommendations for the conditioned souls, which are not actually in his best interest, still the recommendations are there. So, and when we talk about conditioned soul, it's especially the human form of life.
Yes,
It's
Maharaj.
another thing. So that means the conditioning of a conditioned soul, not for something in his, because human being is defined as an intelligent being. Intelligent being means one who can discriminate what is in his better interest. Okay. In spite of that, the recommendations of something which is not in the best interest is there, and that's very sometimes baffling, because any recommendations is very attractive for the person. Why recommendations at all? If something is not in his best interest, or something is causing him to become envious of himself. I like Neil Madhav Prabhu's question. So I wanted to address from that point of view, that when one becomes envious of oneself or anyone, we cannot stand his or her fortune, correct? That's envy, na?
Hmm.
So in the same way, when we are exposed to our great fortune, and if we, as you said, deprive oneself knowingly, that is self-envy. Na? So again, the question is, why such recommendations for the human being? Although he's intelligent, he can be modified, and still he is allowed to do the things which are not in his best interest. Why?
So, Maharaj, who has recommended such thing has recommended also Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, Maharaj? Because Vyasadeva wrote all the scriptures, and then he's writing Srimad Bhagavatam. So now the problem is that this whole creation has been created to satisfy such living entity who does not want to take to the recommendation of Srimad Bhagavatam. So now such recommendation is there because even Krishna, you take one, just think a situation like this. There is so many arguments are there, or I don't want to go in, but point is, definitely living entities are not eternally condemned. Okay, so you just try to think, when we are being given such recommendation of Srimad Bhagavatam in this material world, So definitely we have been recommended a proper path. But since we don't want to take to such recommendation, we have been situated in this material world. So now why this recommendation is there? Because this recommendation is there, this is an evolutionary process. But see what Krishna is so merciful that this is why, because if before Krishna, what we desire, we have to be very, very careful, because Krishna will fulfill all the desires of the living entity. See, there is a difference between desire and thought. We can get, even devotees, we can have so many unnecessary thoughts, but desire, when we sincerely contemplate on those thoughts and we want to fulfill and we want to feel the experience, the manifestation of such desires. So this recommendation is recommended, but at the same time it is not recommended. Because Krishna knows, even if he says, no, don't do such activity, don't do animal sacrifice, but still the living entity will do it, because we have this free will. We misuse our free will. So then, because we are misusing our free will, so we have to suffer. So then definitely he has made such channel that, okay, if you want to, if you are completely insisting, like, that I want to do this, even if you say, no, I will do this. Then Krishna, okay, do it in this way. That you cannot do every day. You want to eat meat but you cannot eat in an unrestricted way. You have to do in front of Goddess Kali and perform this yagya and do such all those things, so that, so such elaborate activity, what happens, see, that living entity by nature, we are not accustomed to, means by nature, this elaborate activity will ultimately make him understand. He will be like, कहते ना, उसको करते करते आदमी बोर होगा या किसी तरीके से परेशान होगा. Definitely he has to suffer, but its channel is that, because if Krishna will not make such channel, such recommendation, then the whole world will be filled with irreligious activity. Just like, see, marriage life. Marriage life is not at all required. It's not at all, absolutely not required. But marriage life, because this living entity wants to experience such lower form of activity. He has such desire, and how this desire is, because we have free will. Krishna has free will, so we also have free will. So we can use any direction, and Krishna is not interfering in free will of any living entity. So then Krishna is recommended, okay, you want to enjoy sex life? Okay, get married properly to a one girl, and for one life only you can have sex life after marriage, only for begetting the children. So what is now that you have, then you have marriage, then this, and then you have children. Instead of enjoying, take the responsibility of one or few living entity who will be taking birth, the consequence of this. So such recommendation actually will be molded in such a way that the person will come to the platform. It may not happen immediately, but ultimately, so that he will, at the last, he will renounce such activity and come to the platform of Krishna. Then he will understand. Like you see, such ceremony is required, but see, when we perform Krishna consciousness is, okay, even you don't have anything, you just chant Krishna's name, Krishna is pleased. No recommendation, nothing. Definitely deity was, there are something, but in general, and anyone can become Krishna consciousness if person is not having any kind of facility, but we can do anywhere. But such activity, karma kand system cannot be done like this. Karma kand system, there has to be certain kind of brahmana, certain facility, then only can be performed. So it is to make, like, means, अगर आदमी सीधे रास्ता नहीं चलना चाहता तो घुमा फिरा के उसको वहीं पहुंचाना है. तो उसी तरीके से Recommendation is there because we have such desire. Even what recommend karma kanda, Krishna is making the body of such an species who only eats meat. Even the person who is not being satisfied in this human form of life by eating this meat, then you go to the lower species in the form of tiger, dog, hog, whatever, and experience that. So this is the actual nature of living entity in this material world. Because we are not obedient to Krishna, that's why we are being placed here. But this process is to make us obedient. So in this process, that's why this mercy of Mahabhagavat, some living entity becomes obedient and come to Krishna consciousness, and some are still in the process. Everyone will come to the same point, but it may take according to, and this time difference depends on the free will of the living entity. So also his Swikriti. So this recommendation is because we will not accept Krishna consciousness directly. So for some human being, such recommendation, so that this irreligiosity should not be spread widely. So such recommendations are there to check such things, to stop. Means like सपोज मैरिज लाइफ का एग्जांपल दिए, तो मैरिज लाइफ अगर आप सिस्टम नहीं बनाएंगे, आप ओके यू कैन हैव एंजॉय विथ एनी गर्ल, देन देयर विल बी नो सोसाइटी, द होल सिस्टम विल बी करप्ट. So recommendation is there to maintain the system. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
If you can add something.
Yeah, sanction ultimately is to free oneself, huh?
Definitely.
Free from this condition. And as you said wonderfully, that abruptly if somebody is asked to stop, it's difficult because of a deep-rooted conditioning. Eventually, on the part of the human being, unlike animals, when he adopts the restrictions, recommendations comes with the restrictions, no? Rules and regulations. So he is grouped into discipline. Animal is undisciplined. So in the process of disciplining oneself, and one takes pride in religion in human form of life, that he's following some, for him it's like it's a great pride that he's following some religion. So eventually, when he gets used to following the religiosity of some sort, eventually through satsang, he will be prepared. He will be prepared to take the higher force of Krishna consciousness. When a person, by following religiosity for quite some time, he will say, "Oh, that the ultimate purpose is not to remain stuck there, but ultimate purpose is to go beyond it." Then he will be able to hopefully free himself through the recommendation of a pure devotee or the true sadhus. That's why ultimately, coming of a pure devotee in one's life, in human form of life, will do the ultimate trick. Until then, he may be following the slow process of recommendations and continuing for many lifetimes. So, possibility of sadhu sangha that will expedite his transformation. Hare Krishna. You want to address the envy factor? Oh, it's all right.
Envy factor, definitely, like see, in this verse only Prabhupada is writing that if we are not understanding the, like, whatever is the animal sacrifice or any karma kanda system, this is not giving the ultimate benefit. But problem is that even after knowing those things, first of all, in this age Kali Yuga, this system is completely distorted. So unfortunately, this we don't know. We can speak because we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. We have association of devotee Guru Maharaj, so we know all those things. But people outside, they don't even know. So they are not even aware that they are envious of themselves. So and even after knowing that some living entity, human being, they are not able to come out of it. Like when we are going preaching, when Krishna, different programs are being, but everyone is not taking to Krishna consciousness, even after knowing. So in that kind of human being are envious of themselves. So, and they are stuck in those karma kanda system or different kind of religious activity. So in this way, even after it means, you can tell they don't have enough security that they have, or they are still, they need mercy of devotee, mercy of Krishna, Mahaprabhu, to understand that. So till that time, they will be envious of themselves, knowingly or unknowingly. So,
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Our Akrut
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavad.
Prabhuji, excellent, very nice. I have this question that free will. So Krishna, if he wants, he can grant us to purify our desire. He can purify our desire. So we are misutilizing our free will. But if Krishna want, he can do so. But why Krishna is not doing that? Means, are we not praying him sufficiently to do this? Because of that reason or any other reason?
No, Krishna is doing, always Krishna is doing to purify us. Krishna is not, any time, don't think that Krishna is not doing enough to purify us. Krishna is Achyuta. He never fails in his, Krishna does not have to do any duty, but Krishna is Achyuta. He never fails. So Krishna is doing more than what we can think he can do for us. But problem is that even after Krishna does, we are not ready to, problem is our side. That's why it is written, we are envious of ours. We are berefting ourselves. Like you see, in our life, take our own example, live for others. We met Guru Maharaj. Who made this possible? All the at least all, so many people met Guru Maharaj, but at least who got this opportunity to become formal, take formal initiation for him, become his disciple. Who made this possible? We were not knowing Guru Maharaj, at least before coming to Kanpur, I was not even knowing such person exists in this world. But it is only this arrangement of Krishna. And after meeting him, after hearing his instructions, after knowing his mission, how many of us are really desiring to fulfill his mission? And desiring to fulfill his mission in his direction. That is important. Because, okay, Guru Maharaj wants his book should be distributed. So we can tell, okay, I am taking Guru Maharaj's books and I am distributing and fulfilling his desire. Okay. But it is not 100% fulfilled. 100% fulfill means how Guru Maharaj wants me to distribute this book. Under whose direction, under whose supervision, in staying in everything, there are full details. If we want Guru, so that's why where we should live and distribute this book. Everything Guru Maharaj has in his mind, but because he sees this condition will not follow 100%, so we distributing that. But We have to come to this platform. That's why Krishna, see, first of all, the concept of free will we have to understand. If Krishna will interfere in the free will, then it will not be called free will. Free will means what? Free will means we can act according to our own desire. Otherwise, if Krishna is controlling the free will of every living entity, then where is the free will? Then Krishna is giving then that's why we told, then we will be like robots. We are getting instruction, we are executing them. Then there will be suppose if we are dealing with the robots, you are giving instruction, robot is fulfilling that job. But there is no reciprocation. There is no emotion. There is no love. There is no love. We don't love robot, and robot is not loving us. But when living entity out of his own desire wants to serve Krishna, tries to know him, he knows that no, Krishna is the ultimate well-wisher. He is my ultimate love. He can love me more than anyone can love me. If the living entity comes to this platform and then he starts serving Krishna, so that what Krishna wants. Otherwise, for Krishna to control, he is controlling unlimited